Well, ladies and gentlemen, please don't be sad because it's over. Please try to be happy because it happened. But honestly, I'm not there yet. I haven't dealt with my stages of grief. And we're going to get to that on the other side of this quick countdown. It's the AZ Wildcats post-game show in 30 seconds.
Man. Your Arizona Wildcats lose to the Duke Blue Devils, thus ending the season, Kevin, by a score of 100-93. Caleb Love goes out on top, 11 for 21, 35 points in his final collegiate game, but not enough for Cooper Flagg, not enough for Duke. And it's sad boy hours on the AZ Wildcats postgame show. I, of course, am Damon Fairall. He is Kevin Thomas. We got Shane pressing buttons for us now. And like I said, this is the AZ Wildcats podcast. Thank you to everybody for being here. Getting in the chat therapy session with your boys, Damon and Kev, as we reflect upon the season that was 2024-2025, Kevin.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
In,
I can do it. I'm kidding. No, Damon, this was unfortunate, man. Like, this is not the way that you wanted to go out. If you're Arizona, like, your mom says here in the chat, the Cats did show a lot of fight. And I think that you and I were talking on the watch along about how you want to see Arizona show the grit that they've become known for this season. But you didn't want them to have to fight as hard as they did in this one, because you're already going to have to fight really hard against a team like Duke. And so, yes, while there is a lot to take away from the amount of fight that this team showed, there are some positives to take away. But I would like to remind everybody in the chat that the first stage of grief is shock, right? And if you watch the watch along, there were points where we were kind of stunned silent by some of the stuff that was going down in that game, and not necessarily even just the result that was happening on the court. It was the halftime buzzer beating three. It was the runs that Duke were going on in the second half. Mm-hmm. It was the, hook and hold on one end that's a technical, and then the hook and hold on the other end that's just a common foul. It was very highly unfortunate, to say the very least, how this game played out if you're an Arizona Wildcats fan. And yeah, Damon, I think I'm moving on to stage two. I'm in denial. The season is not over.
No, it's not. We're playing on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, if at the very least, Saturday. you and I are running over to Newark and we're getting some shots up.
Yeah.
I'm sad. I'm sad, man. I'm
sad too, Kevin. This is just I kept talking about it throughout the whole watch along, and if you were in the watch along, thank you guys for joining. Go check it out and see what our reaction was to some of the big moments, if you are so inclined. But during the watch along, Kevin, for me, it was just a lot of, man, this Duke team is just like, they have an answer for everything, right? And just some unfortunate things going Arizona's way. We knew Arizona was going to have to play like a close to perfect basketball game to win this one. And, they got what they needed out of Caleb Love. They got the game they needed out of their primary scorer. But they didn't get the game that they needed out of a secondary, out of a tertiary scorer. They didn't, Henry stepped up towards the end. Henry Vasar started kind of coming alive towards the end, as we've, become very used to seeing in the second half of games this season. But it just wasn't enough. It was a one-man show for Arizona for too long. And for on the Duke end, Proctor wasn't insane despite us being weary of his abilities. But Con Knipple hit his, first 5 shots of the game or whatever. They got James, Sion James, who, heard you call him Sion Jones and then said, I actually am going to go 5 for 6 from the field.
I'm going to make him remember my name.
Points. Yeah. Maluak was, catching lobs all over the place. And then, of course, the belle of the ball, Cooper Flagg is just an unbelievable basketball player. That's a great
way to put it, actually. Belle of the ball is a great way to put it.
He's an unbelievable basketball player.
He is incredible. And I think we should start here off the top before Saul joins later with his thoughts. He's boots on the ground, as you all know, in America's armpit. That is
probably
Newark.
Getting some of the saddest damn video you've ever seen.
But off the top, we do have to give credit to Duke off the top. An incredible team. Maybe the best team that the nation has to offer. It certainly features the best player that the nation has to offer. And Cooper Flagg was every bit of that tonight, Damon. He was incredible. His playmaking off the dribble, off the catch, off the drive. His scoring off the dribble, off the catch, off the drive. And he plays off ball too, which is really hard to see in college as well. And yeah, this is an Arizona post-game show, so I don't really need to wax too poetic about Cooper Flagg because you all watched it. You all get the point, unless you're some of those crazy people that think he's overrated. But, it's hard to overcome a team that has a player like that, Damon, unless you play your best game. And I guess this is how we'll talk about Arizona because they did not play their best game. They started out quite strong in this game compared to what we had expected, Damon. And as the game wore on, honestly, up until that halftime 3 by Cooper Flagg, it felt like Arizona was giving themselves a chance to win this game.
It was toe-to-toe.
It really was toe-to-toe.
And while it didn't look like, I think it's fair to say it didn't look exactly the same. Duke was getting a little bit easier buckets. Arizona was really forcing their way to the free throw line and making the refs, call fouls in their favor. And, it was more hard-earned than what Duke was having to get. But that's not the point. The point is that they were keeping it close and keeping it neck and neck, Kevin, because as we lined out, the blueprint for success in this game was keeping it close until the end, then getting up ahead of Duke and putting the pressure on them. Arizona puts the pressure on Duke at the end, and you see Duke starting to crumble a little bit, but it just was a little bit too little too late, Kevin, because there just wasn't. They allowed too big of a deficit to happen for the comeback, right? If it was a 12-point deficit, all of a sudden we're talking about a different story of the ending of this game. It probably goes down to like a final shot here, but the fact that it was let me find that exact number so I'm not speaking out the side of my mouth, but the fact that it was kind of in that 20 range, Kevin, I think that's 19. I think that's it was just a little bit too much for Arizona in this one.
Damon and our guy Millo, who
ran out of time,
who's been tuning in to the show all season. We appreciate. I know someone. I think your boy Parker said it in the chat earlier that he appreciated our show this season. So I want to say everyone in the chat who's here right now, we appreciate you for tuning in this season to all our post game shows. Sometimes they be late, so we appreciate that as well. But
I felt like we made family.
Really, really for real,
Kevin.
Yeah, definitely did.
People I'd take bullets for.
Anyway, Arizona, what were you even talking about? Oh yeah, Cooper Flagg. That's what I wanted to bring up. I started with Millo because he brought up the comment about Cooper Flagg looking like he was playing on a schoolyard out there. And that in part happens, 1, because Cooper Flagg is amazing as a basketball player. 2, because Arizona did not make him think as much as they should have out there. Arizona allowed Cooper Flagg to get comfortable in this game. We talked about it in the lead up to this. Arizona would have to make this game incredibly physical. Not only would they have to make it incredibly physical, they would have to stay connected defensively, specifically their bigs, because Duke runs a lot of second actions with cuts and back doors and secondary actions like that. And that's where they really eat. I was saying that on the watch along as well. So many plays this season for Duke, they find success with Cooper Flagg in the corner to start the play. And they run something else over here, your defense shifts over just slightly. All of a sudden, Cooper Flagg's open, and he's cutting to the basket for an alley-oop. Easiest bucket you ever seen in your life. Duke at one point was, Damon, 20 for 23 on their most recent field goals at that point in the game.
Yeah.
That is insane shot making. But not only is it insane shot making, you have to give credit to Duke. Hats off. Whatever. Hats off to Duke. But it's also on Arizona's defense, Damon, because and our producer Shane and I were discussing this during the game as well, it's all layups and dunks. If you go back, if everyone in this chat goes back after our podcast, hey now, and watches this game, during that run where Duke went 20 for 23 with field goals, I would bet that 15 of them were layups or dunks.
It was too easy.
Yeah. Like I said, in part because Duke's scheme was really good. Their game plan was incredible on the offensive side of the ball to make Arizona have defensive lapses. Yeah. But Arizona also had those defensive lapses. Arizona also got themselves out of the game. Arizona also failed to execute some of the small things that win you upset games like this, where you have to be your very best to even have a chance. Now, credit to Arizona, they gave themselves that chance in the end of this game, in the first half of this game. But Arizona took themselves out of the game to start the second half, and we talked about it again in the lead up. You cannot come back against a team like Duke, or at least you cannot expect to come back against a team like Duke. You cannot let yourself be put in a position where you have to come back against a team like Duke. So overall, hats off to Duke. Incredible shot making, but also Arizona was outmatched in this one, Damon. Like Arizona, and we knew this was a possibility coming in here, just simply didn't. Well, I can't say that either. They had the horses to beat Duke, but they had to be perfect, and the horses were not perfect tonight.
They had to play a perfect game, and they didn't. They played somewhat close to it,
75% of a perfect
game.
But
they had a bad stretch for a tiny portion of it, and it kind of put the game
a 5-minute stretch. Really.
Yeah. And it really is unfortunate. I want to shout out everybody who's here in this chat tonight because this isn't necessarily the most fun of times, Kevin, but I think that there's strength in numbers and there's strength in group therapy sessions. And I think that that's what this is going to be all night long. So we appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys drop a like for your guys up here. Providing coverage all season long was very enjoyable, but we do appreciate the likes. It's the only thing that you guys can give us that makes us happy.
Chat. Shane, can I get a one shot here? I know you're doing something, but yeah, chat all season. Damon has been pleading for you to like these videos because I can't sleep if you don't like these videos. But tonight, I will ask you one last time to like this video on a post-game show because not only will I not sleep if this video is not getting enough likes, I will not be happy. I will not feel joy if this video does not reach a certain number of likes, Damon. Should we set a goal?
We should set a goal. We are currently at 16. We got close to 100 people watching, over 100 if you count our Twitter audience. I'd say that, I don't know. What do you think the goal should be? 150? 150?
150. 150, put it on the goal. Let's run it up. Like this video 150 times. And maybe if y'all reach it, me and Damon will do something interesting.
But shout out to everybody here in the chat. I just wanted, Shane, if you are actually, I got it here on my laptop here. I got, Josh, not a U of A fan, but was riding it out with us in the watch line. We appreciate you, sir. AB, Alec Bond, Ernesto, Brady, Clint Moses,
all the homies.
Icy Mike, Ben,
yes,
Lost Highway,
yes.
Trevor Booth saying it's his first time listening. Tough loss, but proud of Caleb. Just shout out everybody who's here. Of course, Erica, always here, always holding it strong for us. But shout out everybody for being here. Like I said, Kevin, family. This is the part.
I can actually do it with you this time.
Yeah, it's the part where we.
You got to do it on the other. Now you're just both cut up. Now you're just you're just sliced and diced.
Listen, I'll cut open my chest if I have to for all the people in this chat if it came down to it, Kevin. But
Damon,
let's talk more about this game.
Yes, and I was gonna ask you. I feel like we would be remiss. We talked about Duke. We gave Duke their credit. If any Duke fans are watching this, just go back to the beginning. We gave you all the credit in the world. This is an Arizona podcast. We're gonna talk Arizona stuff and how Arizona could have done better in this game throughout the rest. We have to start with Caleb Love.
Let's do it.
There is no other way to start the Arizona portion of this postgame show without talking about Caleb Love. In his final game for the Arizona Wildcats, Caleb Love did everything that you expect Caleb Love to do.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. In the second half, he was incendiary. He was unstoppable at times. The drives to the hoop, tough makes. And I said this earlier on the watch along, watching Cooper Flagg. I said that, he's making shots that only he can make. Like in terms of just college players, Cooper Flagg was doing some stuff out there that no other player in the country right now can do. Caleb Love was making some shots that, other players can make those shots, right? But he played the Caleb Love game today.
Yeah.
Caleb Love, woke up this morning and said, I'm playing Duke. This could be my last game. We might be outmatched, but I don't feel that way. I'm going to do what I can will my team to victory. Caleb Love damn near dragged this team by a rope down the road to the nearest gas station when they were running out of gas. You know what I mean? The hatchback ran out of gas, and Caleb Love said, "No, I got you. I'm gonna try to drag everybody with the canister down to the Circle K, and we're gonna try to get a gallon in this hatchback and get us to the rest of the way." And he almost did it. He almost got back to the car with the gas canister before it was too late. And Arizona just could not. They ran out of time, Damon Dog. And Caleb Love, his career runs out of time here at Arizona, and it has been a fun ride, Damon Dog, to say the least. I've been watching Caleb Love since I was in high school. Like, this is someone that I feel like I grew up watching like Caleb Love. I mean, I technically did grow up watching Caleb Love. The most formative years of my life, I watched Caleb Love play basketball for either a team that was relevant to the area I was living in or my favorite college basketball team. So thank you, Caleb Love, for real, for being one of the nation's absolute best scorers. It's hard to put a ball in a basket with consistency, and Caleb Love was able to do that at the highest possible level you can at the college game.
Caleb Love tonight from via Jeff Borzello, the first player in NCAA tournament history to score 35 points with 0 turnovers against a 1 seed.
Wow.
I mean, I was gonna say, Kevin, I had it kind of loaded up. I was gonna say Caleb Love, at least he got to go out on top. I'm gonna refrain from saying that because obviously on top would be lifting the trophy, cutting down nets at the end of the season. But I am happy that Caleb Love gets to, go out in a positive sense in the minds of Arizona fans, because I know how polarizing of a player he is, and not just Arizona fans, but also the national perspective on him, right? Because you look at people like Jeff Goodman who are like, you just can't trust Caleb Love in the tournament. He could shoot you out of games. And meanwhile, you watch the games in this tournament, and Caleb Love is the only reason Arizona is competing against Duke, with his 35 piece against a 1 seed, unstoppable Duke team, hitting tough shot after tough shot, against one of the best teams we've ever seen. And yeah, I mean, I think it's weird because it's not a storybook ending, because a storybook ending involves the W, Kevin.
I get you though.
But
I do.
It is like,
there's no better bookend for his career outside of a victory.
Yes,
in the final game of the season.
I'm happy that he gets to go out in the way of having a great game where people sit there and say, Caleb Love had an incredible college career. He was such a fun player to watch. That's the underrated part. Like, it's not even just the fact that he was a great player, but he is one of the most fun players to watch that we've seen in recent years in college basketball. And it really sucks that we didn't get the job done for him tonight, Kevin. There was a portion of the watch along where I was talking about that with you, just kind of letting my emotions fly. And I'm sad for Caleb Love, because I think most of this roster outside of Caleb Love has the opportunity to come back next season, minus Trey Townsend, who also had a great career, and we'll talk about him later. I'm sure Saul will talk to him in the locker room. But Caleb Love, this was his last opportunity, and I wish that we could have done it for him and made the Final Four with him leading the way. But didn't get the job done. But all-time Wildcat, Kevin,
all-time Wildcat. And I want to add to our Caleb Love situation here, but I also wanted to touch on something you alluded to.
Yeah,
and I think what you were getting at is that regardless of win or loss, bookend or what, Caleb Love could not have done more. Like, he's not going to wake up tomorrow thinking, God, I could have done better last night.
I bet you he will.
Well, no, I know what you mean, but because he's a competitor, and he's an
shouldn't. But I bet you he will.
But down the road, he knows that he did his job.
Yeah.
Like, Caleb Love knows he did his job tonight. And I think that makes it easier to sleep at night, but also harder to make it to sleep at night as well. You and I were talking about this on the watch along, that Caleb Love, the team at times carried Caleb Love through some tough stretches for him as a player, right? Some tough inconsistencies for him as a player. Like, something that's been so consistent for Caleb Love his entire career has been his ability to score the ball. And this season, that kind of went away, but it's because he was trying to add so much others to his game, and he was able to do that. And I think that Arizona did a great job of carrying him through the valleys and peaks of this season, right? To get to this point where you can rely on Caleb Love to carry you through a tournament, because tonight is the player that he is in the biggest moments. 35 points, incendiary shooting, big buckets when you need them, taking over the game when nobody else wants the ball in their hand. That's the Caleb Love experience. And I think that, what additionally makes this, I'll say sad for this to be the last game that Caleb Love plays is it and I might be biased, and you can check me on this, Damon, but him being at Arizona felt like fate. It felt like a star-crossed moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He initially tries to go to Michigan after leaving UNC, is denied entry for whatever, rumored reason or whatnot. He wasn't trying to go to Arizona, right? Ends up at Arizona. Very happy to be here. I'm not saying he didn't want to be here, but I'm saying it wasn't necessarily his first choice out of UNC. Ends up at Arizona. Again, this is where my bias comes in. I'm thinking, I just had Courtney Ramey come to my school from St. Louis. I watched him play in high school. Caleb Love, I watched him play in high school. He comes to Arizona. It feels like fate to me. So I guess my question to you is, doesn't this Caleb Love, how special does this Caleb Love run feel? Because you didn't get a full 4 years.
Yeah.
You pretty much got two, what was it? Two years?
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. Out of Caleb Love. It really felt special, Damon. And then you didn't get the wins that you wanted necessarily. But he is certainly a player that will never be forgotten for as up and down as he was as an Arizona Wildcat. You cannot say Caleb Love did not play his best in the big moments and did not give his team a chance to win the games that mattered most. I don't care what he does against Kansas State, quite frankly. I don't care what he does against ASU. Sorry, Shane. I don't care what he does against Oklahoma State. I care about what Caleb Love shows up on nights like tonight.
Duke night.
And when Caleb Love shows up against the biggest opponents, he is the best scorer in college basketball, folks. I'm not being biased, not being hyperbolic. He is the current, unless Mark Sears went nuclear and had like 50 plus.
He did go nuclear,
but did he? I don't know. Point is, Caleb Love, all-time, not all-time, but active leading scorer in the NCAA tournament among all players. He is the best when the chips are on the table at putting the ball in the basket when no one else has the cojones to up a shot. That is why Caleb Love will forever be remembered in Arizona Wildcats history. Not only that, but the person that Caleb Love is, while we're on the topic, the person that Caleb Love is, we saw Coleman Hawkins expose the pressure of NIL on players this season. We've heard other players kind of speak on it to an extent after that. And we've even heard KJ Lewis, who I'm sure respectfully is getting a smaller bag than Caleb Love is, right? Talk about the pressure and the outside noise and how important it is to keep that out when you're struggling and how hard it is nowadays to keep it out, especially when you're being paid. The respect I have for Caleb Love to all the, and Saul talks about this too in a little bit more vulgar terms, but all the stuff that gets thrown at Caleb Love, all the fans, Arizona Wildcat fans that would have rather had a high school, senior over that guy that just put up 35 against the number one team in the country, probably. For him to go through struggles this season, to block all that out, still fight through it, still fight for development, still become the most complete version of himself as a basketball player, up his draft stock, up his ceiling to change his family's life over the next summer here, Damon. So much respect for Caleb Love as a person, as a player. Very thankful I've gotten to watch him over the last,
million years?
A million years. He played for my school. I am so happy, proud as a fan. I'm not his dad, right? But I'm proud as a fan that I got to watch Caleb Love hoop, and I got to watch him as a player and a person develop. So I'll stop waxing poetic, but we appreciate Caleb Love, and it's sad that he had to go out like this, but also really no better way for him as an individual performer to go out.
Yes, and I think to put a bow on this Caleb Love conversation, Icy Mike up here in the chat says, he really stepped up on his defense this season, and I think that that's a good barometer for just the kind of player and person that he is. You don't see the volume scorer types lock in on their defensive ability and really grow in that facet of the game typically in their fifth year of college.
So late.
And he really did. And then also Icy Mike asked where he fits in terms of the greatest scoring guards in Arizona history. I think that, we need a little bit of time to let this loss stew, but
that'd be a fun little VOD.
I think in the off season here, Kevin and I can definitely approach that conversation and see kind of, where he lands in the landscape of Arizona basketball players. But we're going to get more into this game, talk a little bit more about where Arizona goes from here. and just kind of what we saw in this game, as well as hear from Saul Bookman and get all kinds of sound and thoughts from the locker room and what the guys are feeling, which I'm sure is bound to be depressing, Kevin. But we're going to do all that after the break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Well, if you're Caleb Love, if you're Trey Townsend, you know what I mean? If you're Cooper Flagg, you are going to need probably a new home at some point here pretty soon. And that is why they should contact our friends over at Carol Royce. Some of the nicest people maybe on planet Earth. Carol Royce came into our office to talk with us a little bit about why you need to buy a home. And folks, I don't know if you're paying attention to what's going on outside around your house and around, well, living at your house, but around you in the world. You need a home. You need to start building a life that you want for yourself. So that starts with our friends over at Carol Royce. They got some of the best lenders in the game. If you're not the best with numbers, y'all know it. Y'all watch it every day. I'm awful with numbers. Carol Royce's lenders are not awful with numbers. They are some of the best finance managers in the game. They will help you not only set goals, reach goals, and also maybe even get you in that new house. But even if you don't like that new house that you just bought, you know, Carol Royce maybe has the craziest return policy in the nation. An 18th month buyback guarantee. You can buy back. They'll buy your house back if you don't like it. So if you're ready to find your dream home, take the next step. Call Carol Royce. Write this down at 480-776-5231 or visit Carol Royce online at carolroyceteam.com and tell them PHNX sent you, and we appreciate you for reaching out to them.
Kevin, it is March 27th, and that means that you guys have only 4 more days, not including tonight, to get over to Sanderson Ford for Truck Month. And I believe dealerships actually not open on Sundays, so that only gives you 3 days, the 28th tomorrow, the 29th Saturday, and the 31st on Monday, rounding out Truck Month. And it is going to be the best time to buy any of those big vehicles that you want and you desire with our friends over at Sanderson Ford. That includes the Broncos, Kevin, which, you know, is kind of a big deal because the Broncos are hella popular, especially here in Arizona, especially in the Valley. I know people love those Broncos. I do myself as well.
I love the little badge on the left side. They have a beautiful like little yellow Badlands. It lets you know it's a Badlands. Is my point.
Yeah.
Like I ain't no regular Bronco.
And the Badlands,
it's bucking like a Badlands.
It might as well just say I'm better than you on it for sure. But of course, they got all kinds of deals on the Mavericks, the Rangers, the F-150s, the Super Duties, the Broncos. You name it, guys. Check out save up to 11 grand on 11 grand on Ford F-150 trucks plus 1.9 financing. Up to 4,500 on Bronco Sports plus 2.9 financing, up to 4 grand on Rangers trucks plus 3.9 financing, Kevin. Shop Sanderson for the no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense sales approach that we've come to know and love. And that's why they're the biggest Ford dealership in the nation, not just the state of Arizona. Offers expire 3/31. 2024 models. Finance offers 36 months OAC through Ford Credit. Discounts include Ford rebates, Sanderson discounts, plus trade assistance and conquest cash you must qualify for. Sanderson Ford. How'd that make you feel?
Like I'm in the SpongeBob scene where they're kind of like, you know what I'm saying, vibing out. But yeah, Damon.
41 likes, Kevin. That's not 150.
It's almost a third of the way there, but y'all got to up that. Y'all got to turn it up. You know what I'm saying? You got to do your thing in the likes. Hit the like, leave a like for Caleb Love, for Damon, for me, for Erica, for everybody else in the chat. Shout out to Willow. Or Minnow, sorry, my bad. It's been a long day. We started this day. Koa Pete committed to Arizona the same day, Damon. That was this morning. I don't know if you remember, but that was this morning.
It's the only reason that I am sitting with you fine folks right here in this seat, because otherwise I would be so mentally and physically crushed right now that I would have just gotten in my car and I might have even walked home, Kevin. I still might walk home. Just clear your thoughts a little bit. Just a nice little easy walk home from 5th Street all the way to 74th Street. That's not too bad, is it?
It's not. But what I was saying, and I'll make sure to follow you in my
what
car
do you think,
as you
Shane?
walk, so as to not
walk home vibes.
He says no.
70 streets. That's not. I mean, when you think about it.
But no, he says no walking home. And if you do walk home, I'll make sure to drive by you to watch you and make sure you're all safe there.
Okay.
But I wanted to make sure I shout out everybody in this chat who some people in this chat are saying we had the best Wildcats coverage and they're thankful for our post-game shows. And we are thankful for all of you. Damon and I literally start here in December, like doing this with you guys. And it has been an awesome ride this entire season.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it ended a couple weeks too early. But it has been awesome getting to know each and every one of you guys in this chat. And if you're a diehard, you can be in our Discord, connect with me and Damon every day personally a little bit as well. Get to hear some of the takes that we probably shouldn't say on air about our Arizona Wildcats. And Yeah, so that's my little pitch there. And we do have a super chat before we get to our By the Numbers.
Trevor.
And we still have all this stuff to get to on this extravagant loss of a post-game show. Trevor Begay, $4.99 super chat. Great game by Caleb. Wish we didn't go down by 19. Carter will be a top 10 pick next year. This game showed he needs to develop more, bear down. Interesting talking point there at the end of this, because I was talking to the infamous Anthony Totri today about Carter Bryant and how win or lose, how does that affect his draft stock? And I told Totri,
what a night for Anthony Totri, by the way.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about it.
Fist pumping.
Gross. But I was talking to him about how if Arizona wins tonight and Carter Bryant doesn't look awesome, I think it's all about how Carter Bryant looks. And I don't mean to say he's selfish. Excuse me. But I mean to say that Carter Bryant is someone who cares about his development. Carter Bryant is someone who cares about putting himself in the best position from a basketball context, right? And I think, and this conversation also came up today in regards to Koa Pete. Does the commitment of Koa Pete actually affect the desire of Carter Bryant to come back for next year? I don't think that it does. He retweeted it and said winner. And this is not a Koa Pete reaction pod. If you want that, check out our show from this morning. But like, my point with that is that Carter Bryant has his head on straight. Carter Bryant's not caught up in, am I going to go 15th? Am I going to go 12th?
Yeah.
Carter Bryant wants top 10. But not just top 10. Carter Bryant wants to be a top 10 player. He wants to be good enough to be in that top 10.
That matters more.
He wants to develop into that top 10. And so I think, honestly, I'm not reporting anything. I have no insight or anything. I just feel like Carter Bryant's going to be back next season. Unless the projection drastically changes. He didn't look, again, he looked like a freshman out there tonight, Damon. And you know who is going to the NBA next year on the same court? Did not look like a freshman? Come on, Maluwak.
My only
Cooper Flagg.
My only argument to that is that Carter Bryant has an NBA body right now already.
True. That's a great point.
And those type of guys usually don't stay.
They draft on potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing I will say, I would love to see Carter Bryant play another year college hoops.
Same.
He would be so dominant.
He'd be one of the best players in the conference. And I think that's a good point you bring up, Shane, about how, again, I'm talking about Carter Bryant wanting the best for his development, wanting the best for him as a basketball player. How else are you going to develop as fast as possible in the NBA with the strength and conditioning and the coaching and all the IQ? The only thing I would counter there, and this is kind of, we can go back and forth all day, I guess, about this, and that's the beauty of the game. But I think it's interesting. The higher you go in the draft, and I'm not breaking news here, the more investment you get from your team, right? So if Carter Bryant is getting all the investment in the world here at Arizona, all the investment from our great leader Tommy Lloyd, and he has the opportunity to go to the league, I think he'd rather go to like a top 12 team. We can argue semantics about that. He wants to go to a good situation. And if he is in the bottom half of that lottery, I mean, honestly, you might have a better chance of getting him out of there than if he goes in the top 15. Because then you're talking pay at 15 versus pay at 8 versus do I play for, I don't know, name a good team. Like, do I get picked by a team at the back half of the lot, like the end of the draft? I don't know. Point is, yes, that exact, yes. Thank you, Damon.
No, he wouldn't slip all the way down to 25.
Point being,
he's mocked in like the top 15 right now.
Yeah. Point being though, like I think for Carter Bryant, it's all about fit, and I think it's all about where can he be the best version of himself. But I think it's a great point you bring up about how he is NBA body wise ready now, and as soon as he fills out, he's going to look incredible.
I think he's going to enter the draft process similar to how Caleb Love did this past season.
Yes. For sure. Yeah.
I would be shocked if he didn't go to the NBA Combine and test himself against competition.
You got to dip your toe in the water, man.
Well, unless you truly just want to come back to school for a second year. But I think that would go to show that Carter's at least weighing his options, which I think is probably the case for the spot that we're in right now. But yeah, he wasn't great tonight. He wasn't. He obviously has so much potential, and both of his threes looked phenomenal, and they were big threes.
His shot is beautiful.
It is beautiful. But yeah, it was one of his lesser efficient offensive games for sure.
But he wasn't alone, Damon.
He's typically so efficient here.
He was not alone, and I feel like we're I don't know how long we are into this podcast, Damon, and we haven't even broken down this game. Yeah, Shane, I already established I'm not good with numbers. That's not going to help me. But my point is...
Shane, Kevin doesn't know how long we are into the podcast when he's sitting in your seat.
Literally.
And he has the number right in front of his eyes at all times.
Precisely, man. Precisely. Point being with all this, we are X amount of number of minutes into this podcast without talking about the numbers in this game. Damon, I think we should break this game down by the numbers. We talked a lot of intangibles.
Actually, I don't want to.
Well, we're going to.
We are going to.
David doesn't want to, but we're going to.
I
Sorry
just don't
for the
want
hezzy there, Shane.
I hate Cooper Flagg. I hate his stupid face. I hate looking at triple digits against my team in the NCAA tournament. I hate that Duke shot 60 and 58% from the field and from three, respectively. I hate that they doubled us up in terms of assists. I hate that they had half the amount of turnovers as us. And then look at that points in the paint number, because that number was 38-8 at one point, Kevin. It ended 42-30, and you saw the score tighten up. I think it's so indicative of the game. When Duke got easy buckets, they dominated. And when Arizona was able to close the gap, it's because Caleb Love was not only hitting contested three-point shots, but also just taking it into the rim and, driving in, getting and ones. Henry Vasar got an and one. Like
Henry Hammer.
Those points in the paint is what clawed Arizona back into this one, but just not enough, man, because you just got dominated for the first, 67% of this game in the paint.
Cooper Flagg?
That makes the difference.
But Lost Highway said Cooper Flagg is a New Balance athlete. Is that true?
I told you, brother, Kawhi.
I take it. Oh no! I take everything nice I said back.
By the way, guys, Kevin has been upping Cooper Flagg behind the scenes here as like this cool, like
I think he's too cool for Duke. I don't think. I'll say this. I don't think he's a rock star. Can we not do this right now? But I think Cooper Flagg doesn't necessarily fit Duke as much as people want him to fit Duke. You know what I mean? Whatever. Neither here nor there. Point being, Damon, you talked about the points in the paint, right? Being what, 38-8, you said?
At one point.
Ending?
42-30.
Oof. Basketball, football guy. What are you doing, man? I thought we were friends. What are we doing there? Point being, with all of that, the points.
It's a good point.
No, it's not. No, it's not a good point. No, it's not. Anyway, point is, points in the paint battle. We talked about the second half performance from Arizona. We talked about the first half of the second half and how awful Arizona played in a way, right? That points in the paint battle, getting up to 30 points after being at 8 for a long portion of this game. I'm not saying I'm like impressed. I'm not saying that that's something that we should be like, oh, wow, look at Arizona. They really did their thing in the second half and points in the paint. But I think it is, right, an indication that it's not like Arizona was completely bullied in this game, right? Arizona was outmatched. Arizona was out-talented. Arizona definitely needed an additional boost from a scorer's perspective in this one, Damon.
Yeah, as we finish looking up at the stats here, Arizona losing to Duke 100-93. It is our By the Numbers presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union presented by Forbes. And yeah, Kevin, absolutely. Cooper Flagg, just too much tonight, man. I want to highlight KW's comment just because I don't want to like spend too much time on it, but says, so glad Love is gone. Can't wait until Tommy's gone. I just like, I can't get there with you, man. Ow. And I feel like, especially, I know you love Tommy. Obviously I love Tommy Lloyd too, but I feel like, I'm fairly critical. You've been critical at times when there's reason to be critical, right? But Tommy Lloyd is an elite coach in college basketball. He's made 3 out of 4 Sweet 16s, and I know that is not the standard, Kevin. A standard that me personally, I've talked about quite a bit. The Sweet 16's not like, providing any sort of like emotional, leverage for me when it comes to feeling better. Yeah, boost.
They got no juice to them.
100%. And so, yeah, you need to do better than the Sweet 16. But that being said, how many coaches have made 3 Sweet 16s in their first 4 years as a head coach, especially at a big-time program like Arizona, especially when they started 4-5 in conference, and you saw the development of this team over the course of a season? And as far as Caleb Love goes, how could you possibly, after this game, be saying, I'm glad Caleb Love is gone? Genuinely. He's the only reason that this wasn't a national embarrassment on TV in front of the entire country watching, Kevin.
Laughing because you're right.
No, it's the truth. It's a simple fact. Yeah. Like Caleb
Love. This would have been 25 plus.
Yes.
Yeah. And it would have been Baylor.
And we would have been like in the watch along, being in the, with 10 minutes left, being like, can we end it?
Shane.
Yeah.
We're going 100%.
So I'm all here for the criticism when it's warranted, Kevin, but like tonight is not the night for criticism of Tommy Lloyd and criticism of Caleb Love. We're retooling going into next offseason, and I think next year's team is going to be more talented than this year's team.
Yeah,
but
I actually agree.
You probably won't have to play a Duke next year. I mean, as simple like Duke is that good. They really are.
Duke is incredible, man. Duke is incredible. Regardless of what our guy KW says, Tommy Lloyd is also an incredible coach. As much as we disagree with KW is in the chat all the time. KW is here with us all the time. And honestly, I love that about this chat. We can, respectfully disagree about things. Maybe not so respectfully if you're King Russell there, but
King Russell, seek some medical attention. I think something is going wrong. You're just like you're spamming out on the keyboard, maybe having a spasm of sorts or a seizure. But
you guys
lost his mind.
You guys want to know how good Duke is?
How good is Duke, Shane?
So I don't ask me why I did this, but a while ago I bet on Kentucky to win the whole thing.
Why'd you do that?
Well, okay,
sorry,
they're in it.
You threw me the lob.
No, it's fair.
Yeah.
My cash out was X amount of money before this game, and now it's less after Duke won.
Can you tell us how drastically less? You don't got to give us an amount.
Yeah, it's about it got cut into like an eighth.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's a significant amount
with a team bowing out that just because they think that team is. I do think Duke is going to win it, man. I really do. This team is unreal.
I think Florida looked better than Duke in the second half tonight.
I'll raise you this, Shane. Florida might look like the better team, and I think that they do look like the better team. But I think when we're talking basketball, superstars win you basketball games in one game tournaments like that.
Walter Clayton Jr. is the type of player he's Kemba Walker. He's the type of player that wins you tournament games.
I'm not saying Clayton isn't a superstar. I'm not saying he's not a star, but I'm saying Cooper Flagg is a superstar.
Cooper Flagg's the best player in the world in college basketball.
No, exactly. And I'm saying in a one-on, and maybe we'll see that game. That could be an incredible game. But yeah, no, that would be a really good game. I just think maybe Duke might be a little bit scary or more imposing heading into that one. But Damon, we're talking Arizona Duke here. We're talking Arizona Duke. And
what do you think would appease Arizona fans that don't like Tommy Lloyd? 10 straight national championships?
No, I realistically, I think a straight national championship, one, I think would appease a lot of people, Damon. I think realistically,
I mean, yeah, it would appease everybody.
It would.
But we all, you can't just wishfully just like say, hey, I want to win the national championship. Well, like it's sadly not how it works, or else we'd have all of them. Right?
We know what does work, Damon? Us talking about the stock market after this quick break. I thought today was going to give me 24 healthy happy hours. But when I get home, I'm going to have probably one healthy happy hour with our friends over at Cornbread Hemp THC. It's America's first ever USDA approved organic THC gummy, farm bill compliant for legal adults over the age of 21. No synthetic ingredients, Damon. That might be the best part for me. I love, not the grocery store, but I love whole foods. Like I love foods that what is in it when you're putting it in your body, and that is what Cornbread Hemp is for you. It's your healthy happy hour, folks. Take the edge off, enjoy the end of your day or the beginning of your day if you're getting down like that. It's perfect for that. And it can make you, feel a little less anxious or paranoid like other, possible edible brands might do to you. So if you're looking for a healthier way to enjoy a carefree moment, you have to give Cornbread Hemp a try, folks. They have created the first ever, and I love history, Damon knows that, USDA organic THC gummy that's 100% legal and has a special offer for our listeners and our listeners only. You can get 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX and use promo code PHNX at checkout.
Kevin, we've been live for quite a long time today. We started off going live at
9:15
this morning, 9:10 this morning, talking Koa Pete and his commitment. And I would be nowhere without Circle K and getting my stop to get myself a nice energy drink, some caffeine boost on such a long day. Circle K is America's thirst stop. And if you're not attending Circle K, for your gas needs, for your hydration needs, really for anything, because they do have it all at America's Thirst Stop and at a convenience store as packed up as Circle K, Kevin. But here's another thing about Circle K you're going to want to get in on. It is the Inner Circle Rewards membership, guys. It is so easy. You can download the free app and sign up in 3 minutes. And this is what it's going to get you. It's going to get you 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups.
Sheesh.
Then it's going to save you 3 cents off per gallon like Kevin on every fill-up after that. Or if you're like me and you're a big dog and you're better than everybody else.
Ooh, wow.
You save 5 cents off per gallon being a premium member of the Inner Circle every time that you fill up at the gas station. It is that simple, guys. Inner Circle Fuel Days coming up, Kevin.
There was one today.
There was one today. We have one on April 10th, which is my dad's birthday, and April 24th
shout out.
as well. So Inner Circle members can save 40 cents off per gallon from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. on those dates. One today, and you still have an hour and a half to get there. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to finish watching the show with us. Then you're going to hop in your car right after it's over. You're going to go fill up your tank of gas, get 40 cents off per gallon real quick before that midnight amount hits, Kevin. But join the Inner Circle for free by downloading Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
And you know what? You might just see Damon Dog walking along the highway if you're on your way to Circle K.
It's certainly possible.
He might be walking his ass back home at that point, Damon. But I wanted to, wrap up real quick our Tommy Lloyd conversation before we get to the stock market, King of the Court, and we still have Saul Bookman coming up on the rest of the show as well. I'm hearing we have clips from Caleb Love, Carter Bryant, all the heavy hitters that you want to hear from.
I'm seeing sad faces, and it is breaking me as a human.
Not happy faces in the locker room. Spoiler alert for the Arizona Wildcats right now.
I mean, I knew it was coming, but it doesn't make it any easier at any moment.
Yes.
But yeah. Can I say something real quick before we hop into that? And again, I know I said I didn't want to spend too much time on this conversation, but this is just, I feel like I have to get this off my chest. KW says like he's a Final Four bust guy, and that's his expectation he set for the program. And Kevin, I think that, you can attest to this perfectly, as I already alluded to on the show, but I have very clearly aligned the expectations that I believe for this team throughout the season. Yeah. And it was, do not lose to a team that you are better than on paper.
Yeah.
In the NCAA tournament.
Correct.
Arizona did not lose to a team that they were better than on paper. They lost to Duke, who is clearly better than them on paper.
Yes.
I'm not thrilled with the outcome. I'm not sitting here going fist pumping, going, heck yeah, man, we made the Sweet 16. This means everything.
It's just sweet trees.
I do think that we need to have the awareness to sit back and say, this, all things considered, it was a good season. You can't blame them necessarily or just throw it out completely because they lost to a superior team. And, while it wasn't a good season, it also wasn't a bad season. And it's not a season where you turn around and fire your coach or talk about wholesale changes across the program. Like I think that we need to have our expectations set properly. And that is, this was neither an elite season, but it was also not a bad season. It's somewhere in the middle of that at the end of the day.
I mean, I don't disagree with anything you said, Damon. I think that some people are a little misguided in their criticism, and that's just the way that things are sometimes. But
I have high expectations. I think I have high expectations for this program, but we also need to be realistic and not just pessimistic all the time.
I totally agree. I think sometimes the way people take losses is kind of up to them and a result of how they see basketball. But Damon, I wanted to, before we get Saul Bookman in here, I did want to go through the stock market.
Here come the ASU fans.
So we can get the stock market checked in on. Did Arizona win the stock market battle tonight? Shane, can we get a total for these numbers?
Yeah. So Duke had 7 blocks and 2 steals.
9 stocks.
9 stocks. And the Wildcats had 6 steals and 1 block equaling 7 stocks.
Yeah. As we've already established, I'm not good at math, but that is a loss in the stock market. Wah, wah.
And the blocks make so much sense just from the fact of, they're so incredibly damn tall. And they looked bigger than Arizona tonight. And it's not even at those front court spots necessarily, which I know you can consider Cooper Flagg a front court player, but it's more the wings. Mm-hmm. You're watching KJ Lewis guard Cooper Flagg, and you're like, he has 5 inches on KJ Lewis, half a foot. And that's our best defender on their best offensive scorer. And it's just his length is, in a different stratosphere than a KJ Lewis. So yeah, it makes sense that they won the block margin tonight. It makes perfect sense.
It does. And while we're on the topic of, coaching criticism, Javier says in the chat that, look at what Grant McCaslin was able to do at Texas Tech, and look at what
I wish we had a
do.
cupcake ass bracket like Grant McCaslin at Texas Tech.
Damon, you are flying through the stages of grief. You went through anger. Now you're at bargaining. I wish we had this. I wish we had that. Well, maybe we would have been different. We'll see when you get to depression and then maybe acceptance. But as I was saying, with that, I feel like, Javier, the danger in that kind of logic, like looking around saying, oh, well, look at what that guy did in year 2. Look at what that guy did in year 1. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, like you would end up like hopscotching through coaches if that was your logic. Like, oh, well, we didn't make it to the Sweet 16 in every single year. We didn't make it to the Elite 8 in every single year. I think that it's time to change coaches. Who's the hottest coach? Let's just grab him. That's not reality. You know what I mean? Like you get Tommy Lloyd from Gonzaga, his first head coaching job, and he delivers you 3 Sweet 16s in 4 seasons. That is impressive. No, it is not what you wanted. It's not what we wanted. We would have loved a national title.
Yeah.
We would have loved one last year and the year before and the year before that. But I think when you're too quick to give up on a coach, you end up giving up a Dusty May. You end up giving up a Grant McCaslin. And then the other team that makes it that far, gets over the hump with that coach, they reap the benefits. And I feel like you shouldn't be too quick to give up on Tommy Lloyd when he's just getting started. We talked about it in our preview show of Duke, Damon, but Tommy Lloyd kind of was talking his stuff a little bit. And obviously it ages poorly now because they lost. But Tommy Lloyd is right. Like 3 Sweet 16s in 4 seasons, an average seed of like 1.5 or 2 or something like that. Arizona is one of the best programs in America, folks. I'm sorry. Like, I understand that they haven't won the national title to back that up. But from a program health standpoint, Arizona is one of the healthiest programs you can be right now. And I think that needs to be taken into account when you're thinking about Tommy Lloyd, right? Because, I mean, look, not to rehash bad feelings for Erica L. Day in the chat, but Adia Barnes made it to a national title I don't know how many years ago, folks. Look where she's at right now. Look where her program is at right now. It's hard. It's really hard to make it deep in the tournament year over year. Dusty May, let's see where he ends up in 4 years, what he's accomplished. Maybe you're right, Javier. Maybe Tommy Lloyd ends up being the worst of the 3. Time will tell, right? But
if he's getting judged based off of his tournament success, then he's made the Sweet 16 3 out of 4 seasons.
Yeah. But
that's a fact.
Yeah, it is.
And again, like I'll be the first guy in the front of the line with my picket sign saying Sweet 16s mean nothing at the end of the day because I've seen so many of them. But also, like, this is sports. You have to have perspective. And like, yes, Tommy Lloyd lined it up for us the other day in his availability, Kevin. Arizona is tied with Purdue for second in average seed the last 4 seasons since Tommy Lloyd's gotten at Arizona. Arizona is consistently one of the elite programs in the country under Tommy Lloyd, and they're knocking at the door. They're going to break through eventually. If you give Tommy Lloyd the same tenure that Sean Miller had, I guarantee you that he is going to make a Final Four. I said that on the show a couple shows ago. I'm sitting in that spot still, but it's just, I get it. Like, it's hard. It's tough to be, pumped or like, thrilled about the direction of the program coming off of a loss, Kevin. Like, that makes perfect sense to me. But I think me and you have to try to get up here and provide perspective. We can't just be doomsday scenario about everything. So
real quick, last bit. I want to wrap it up with this. I want to wrap the coaching thing up with this because ultimately we're feeding into the little delusion here in a way. But Danny Hurley, who I know is a Hurley and we feel a certain way about the Hurleys, has spent 7 years at UConn, Damon, where he has won. He was looking for a 3-peat this season.
Correct.
Back-to-back national title games. But before that, can the chat guess how many? I'll even give you a Sweet 16. How many Sweet 16s Danny Hurley had been to? Goose egg, nada, none. Spent years at Wagner, made 2 tournaments, and Wagner's really hard to make the tournament at because why? It's really hard to win high-level basketball games. He moves to UConn. No tournament year 1 in 2018. No tournament year 2 in 2019. 2021 makes his first tournament. 2022, second tournament. Final Four the next year. Champion in that same year. Repeats. Goes for a 3-peat this season, fails. My point is, Arizona is truly knocking on the door, folks. You have to be in it to win it, right? Name me a coach that's doing what Tommy Lloyd has done, right? Name me a coach that's won multiple national titles and never struggled, never lost to someone they should have never lost to, never exited early from the tournament. You can't do it. And so, yes, I would have loved if Arizona upset Duke. I would have loved if Arizona didn't lose to Clemson. Princeton should have been an easy W, Damon Dog. But they lost. Those things happened. We move forward. We have a great coach in Tommy Lloyd, and I'm excited for where this program that just landed its 31st McDonald's All-American commit this morning. I'm excited to keep watching it.
Absolutely. We're going to get our guy Saul Bookman in here and hear what everybody had to say in terms of players, coaches from the locker room, and just kind of, the sad vibe that I'm sure was the Arizona locker room there in Newark, New Jersey. But we'll do that right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Damon, I am starving, and I would love some Spinatos because it is the #1 pizza in the Valley. Spinatos is the place to be. If you're a Suns fan, you can watch all your NBA stuff there. You got dancers there. You got gorillas there. Oh, wait, that's just the Suns dancers and their mascot, the gorilla. No apes involved. No crazy dancers involved. Spinatos is about basketball and pizza, folks. It's the official hosting space for Suns watch parties. If you have a jumper on you, check out their horse competition where they spell Pizza instead of horse. Get all the info on watch parties and pizza basketball contests at SpinatosPizzeria.com. Spinatos, the official pizza of the Phoenix Suns.
It's tomorrow, the pizza competition in Gilbert.
Oh,
so
nice.
come hang out.
You were saying tomorrow.
Yeah, PHNX Suns crew. Come hang out.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Eric Ruby MCing, right?
This is true.
That is a fact. And of course,
I'm MC Rubis.
if you're trying to go to Spinatos there and have just a phenomenal time with the crew, maybe, drink a little bit, why not get yourself a Waymo to and from? They're autonomous vehicles, ride share option that is far superior to the ones that, where the driver's just going to talk to you the entire time, Kevin. I know that's my least favorite thing when I get into one of those other ride-sharing apps, but not with Waymo. Waymo, I get to pick my own music, sit in the back seat comfortably, and just let those beautiful Jaguar I-Pace vehicles just zoom me through the great city of Phoenix. They have them in San Francisco, LA, and Phoenix, and they've driven so many rides that they have over 40 million miles of real-world driving experience, which is enough to get to the moon and back. So if you're weary about kind of the reliability of these things, just know that they are very street legal. They're out there. We see them all the time here in Phoenix. They are everywhere, and they're very safe.
If our mayor, Derek Montilla, will take one, you should too.
Absolutely. Use Waymo whenever you're in need of a ride share option. It is the absolute best. Download the Waymo One app today and ride today. Well, I see here. I just think it drives the conversation because this is kind of, the spot that some Arizona fans are in right now, Kevin. It's like bringing up guys like Scott Drew and Todd Golden. Yeah, those are also incredible coaches. Would they have done better than Tommy in these positions?
Who knows?
Maybe. We're splitting hairs with some of the best coaches in college basketball here. Scott Drew is a national champion. It's like I'm not going to take that as some sort of insult that the guy with the #2 overall seed team right now and a guy who won a championship in the last 3 years may have done a better job than Tommy Lloyd this season. Like Tommy is an incredible coach. This team is, how could you not be hyped about after this morning seeing Koa Pete commit to Arizona? The 5th highest rated recruit in Arizona basketball history, is the #1 recruit that Tommy Lloyd has gotten to Arizona. Like Kevin, that's got to pump you up, man. It just goes to show that other people are buying into what Arizona is selling. Braden Burries, we are in the spot right now where he is kind of rumored to potentially be at Arizona as we pop into our overtime session here. On the AZ Wildcats podcast. If you are watching with our streaming partners, head on over to gophnx.com and we are going to wrap up kind of the eulogy that is the Arizona basketball season, as sad as that is, Kevin.
We're going to hear from the players too.
But yeah, we're going to do that right now, actually. We got our guy Saul Bookman on the floor in New Jersey, ready to go. And Saul, it's sad boy hours here in the studio. We kind of been talking ourselves off the ledge here, and obviously, keeping perspective on, what the season that was, and a guy like Caleb Love, and kind of just how he rode off into the sunset. I guess I'll kind of just give you the floor here to start, Saul. Like, what did you see from this team this season? What can you bring into future seasons, and just kind of, how are you feeling after such a kind of a crushing loss, but maybe not an unexpected one?
Can I piggyback off the last topic real quick, just to wrap that up as a little bow? Scott Drew came into the season with a top 5 ranked team and got housed by 30 to Gonzaga, and they never recovered after that and ended up getting bounced in the tournament way earlier than Arizona. So spare me the details about Scott Drew or this guy would have done this. You don't know. You have no idea what they would do at another program. Also, like, I get it. Like, Sweet 16 is not the end goal. You know, it's not. There's 320 Division I basketball programs. Every single one of them would love to win a championship every single year. Not everybody can get to the Sweet 16 3 out of 4 years like Tommy Lloyd has done with Arizona. Lute didn't even do that in his first 4 years, okay? Like, we got to stop. It's like we're always finding reasons to hate. Stop. Just stop. Just appreciate that this team was 4-5, and a lot of those haters had Arizona dead in the water. But they rebounded, they recovered, they came all the way back, they got all the way to the Sweet 16 against a team who could win it all. And listen, sitting courtside, there is nothing that told me that Duke was not the better team. They're phenomenal. They are. Yeah. And that's okay to say and not disrespect Arizona, because we have phenomenal dudes too. They just aren't NBA level talent all the way across the board like some of these guys were tonight. Like Duke legitimately has 3 lottery picks on their team, and they're all freshmen. And they improved so much since the first game to right now. And Cooper Flagg is that guy. I'm sorry. If you want to hate him, then hate him. But he is that dude. Like, I was amazed by that guy tonight. Like, that's why he's going to be the number 1 pick. So we can always listen. What we do as Arizona fans sometimes is we hype ourselves up going into games, and then we get let down. But some of us are emotionally stable enough to know that, like, I'm hyping myself up, understanding that, like, the reality of the situation is like, we have to play a perfect or clean game in order to get this dub. We all knew that going in. If we had any kind of slip up, it was going to be an uphill climb, and that's exactly what happened on multiple occasions tonight. And give this team credit. They fought all the way back, got it to 5, and if one more call or bucket goes their way, who knows what would have happened in that last couple minutes. But it didn't go our way, and that's okay. Sweet 16s are not the end goal. But listen, it's also not the end of life. And to the guy that said getting to the Sweet 16 is like getting to the NFL wild card, 320 and 16 is much different than 32 and 16, or was it 14? Like, the math isn't mathing, guy. No, it's like you got to the Super Bowl every single year is what it's like when you have 320 teams in Division I basketball, okay? So stop with the hate. It's just hate at this point. You got to be all in on Arizona, the good and the bad. Otherwise, go find another college to go root for. Hey, Saul, it's just not, this ain't it.
Because what does it mean to be an Arizona Wildcat? It means to bear down. I know that's hella corny. I know that's not what Damon was to hear, because that was extremely corny.
True.
But it's literal. It's literally true. If this is a school that you really support, you support them through the ups and downs and not just through
Now I'm on KW's side, but just because you said that.
And also, listen, man, you know, it's easy to sit here and throw rocks. It's just so easy to throw rocks when you're sitting there and you're judging. Have you won anything? You know what I mean? Like, have you done anything in your life to be so critical of people because they didn't reach the ultimate goal and the ultimate championship? Do I need to stop? Do you guys need to do something? Or good?
No, you're just giving them the real.
I was laughing at you being like, what have you accomplished? I thought that was funny.
My bad.
I was letting you cook, my guy.
My bad.
Clear out.
I just don't understand it. I just don't understand the hate. Like, they're a top 16 program. They proved it tonight. They competed against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country. And so, and this team, they had to battle through it. And as fans, I would challenge you. You got to battle through it. Figure out your issues and get over them, because the coolest thing about this program right now is what I feel like it was reflected as under Lute, is that Lute loved his guys. And he built a culture of guys that loved their guys. And when we get to these clips, you're going to see, like, it's hard to be in the losing locker room and interview this team, understanding the emotions that are going on after a loss, but more importantly, the genuine love that these guys have for each other. It was brutal. It was the worst locker room I've ever been in. And it started with Carter Bryant. As soon as I walked in, his eyes were red. I was like, not talking to him first because I don't know if I can keep it together. And so I went left and I talked to Trey Townsend. And Trey Townsend, basically, you know, I asked him, like, hey, just summarize this game for me. Like, how do you feel? And, you know, when the buzzer sounded, what were your ultimate takeaways? And this is what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm just proud of my guys. You know, the way we battled, obviously, you know, started out pretty strong, you know, competitive, and then it got away from us for a little bit. But then we battled back. I think we were down, you know, 19, 20 points, and to see us come back and, you know, get it to that close is a special thing. You know, it just shows the character of this team. But yeah, obviously, you know, we wanted to win, and you know, it's, you know, if I were to go out, you know, against any team, you know, they're a very talented, tough team, and you know, all props to them. They did a great job. But yeah, it's the end of a longer college career, but you know, I'm just proud of my guys this game.
Shout out Trey Townsend, man. Shout out Trey Townsend, because that's a guy who had probably the most difficult season of anyone on this team. And even when he wasn't, you know, that wasn't having the role on the squad that he thought maybe he was going to have going into the season, he never, you know, wavered from an attitude perspective, always showed up. You can tell his teammates love him. You can tell how pumped for him they were in big moments when he was showing some signs of life and like he needed a little bit more playing time. And, you know, I as much as we gave him a hard time on this show, me and Kevin, #1 Trey Townsend podcast in America, at the end of the day, he truly embodied the spirit of this team, and shout out Trey Townsend. He deserves a lot of credit for how he handled himself, how professional he was, how mature he was. And, you know, I'll be rooting for that guy for a long time, regardless of how this season went in regards to our expectation level.
He was amazing. He was amazing. He might not have been amazing on the court. He might not have lived up to the expectations that we had for him. But as a person, he was amazing. And I can't even imagine like the stuff that was going through his head, seeing some of the hate that was coming his way. And again, this is where you have to separate basketball from reality, because there is no world where if you were a father and you had a son like that and you saw the crap that he was getting thrown his way, how you wouldn't be proud of the man that he is. There just isn't. And that's it just gets at me every single time when people cross the line and they make it personal because their own feelings got hurt because they invested so much into a basketball team full of 19, 20, and 21-year-olds. Like, that's not on them. That's not on them that you put them on this crazy, unrealistic pedestal that they couldn't live up to. You know, it's just how it is. And so, and you're going to see this here in a second, because I talked to KJ and I talked to Carter Bryant, and the main takeaway was about Caleb Love. I'm going to caution you folks, when you hear Carter Bryant, you might want to have some tissues, because what?
We're getting sorry to cut you off. My bad. You're really cooking. We're getting the Carter Bryant right now for you. We're getting that. Clip
okay. All right.
As you speak. So maybe continue to set it up, and we'll get that clip for you when you're done setting it up real quick.
Yeah, I would say, you know, KJ was also, you know, very, very good in talking about, you know, Caleb. And I didn't know how close KJ and Caleb were, but he kind of talked about that as well right here.
You wanted the KJ? What KJ was talking about?
Well, I thought if we didn't have the Carter, then did we have the KJ? Do we have anything? Do we have either?
There is no
those
KJ
two?
video. We have Caleb and Carter one that we're going to get in here in a half second, but no KJ video as of right now. But you know, it's an emotional scene in the locker room. You know, a guy like Carter Bryant, when you think about Carter Bryant from a standpoint of, is he going to come back next season? You know, is this Carter Bryant's last college game? I'm sure a lot of emotions are running through his world when it comes to that. And yeah, I mean, I can't, like, having the weight of that on your shoulders as a, you know, 18, 19-year-old kid like Carter Bryant must be tough. But why don't we go ahead and hear from Carter Bryant now? I believe it is ready, and what he had to say in the locker room post game.
I wouldn't say in the moment. You kind of, I don't know what I'm really thinking in the moment because we're just trying to win the basketball game. Your mind's in the winning a basketball game. It doesn't matter who scores. You just want to get it done. But looking back on it, like, he's a fighter. Like, no disrespect, but like, no matter what the media says about that man, people have dragged his name through mud. People have talked the worst ways about him. And for him to be the man he is, to be a stand-up guy, to be the great person he is, and him to go out with a performance like that, you can't ask for much more. I mean, he's one of the greatest college basketball players ever touched basketball at the guard position. So, I mean, I appreciate him more than he knows, more than words can describe, and I'm just appreciative that I got to be a part of his last season in college basketball.
Very emotional. Carter Bryant talking about Caleb Love there. Saul, talk about what he said.
Yeah, Carter's a real one. I think we've learned over the course of the last couple of days, or really the last couple of weeks, how much we really love Carter Bryant, and how much I think people should have really. I think people did, especially if you were at McHale. Every time Caleb Love got announced, it was always raucous. It was always he always got the loudest cheer. I think people wanted Caleb to succeed. Obviously, it sounds silly, but there are people out there that just wanted to hate on Caleb because they wanted to hate on Caleb. But again, Caleb, there's not a single person in the last 2 years that I've ever come across that has known Caleb Love and had anything negative to say about Caleb Love. He is just a unique individual that bared the weight of the entire, franchise program, and he still found a way, even though he wasn't, playing at a high level at the beginning of the year, to come through when the team needed him the most at the Big 12 tournament. These last couple of games of the tournament against Oregon, he had two of probably his best Arizona games, period, in the last 2 games of this season in Oregon and Duke. I mean, there's a Michael Jordan video where they were talking about how it was against the Utah Jazz in his last year and everybody's injured. Scottie Pippen's back is gone, and he's just willing his team to victory. Caleb Love was literally willing his team back into the game single-handedly because he wasn't getting any help from secondary sources. He was doing everything he could to pull Arizona back. He did it on both ends of the floor. He's just a unique individual. I will forever be a Caleb Love fan. I've said that all season, even when he was struggling, that Caleb Love was going to save one of these games. And he did so against Oregon when it looked like Oregon was coming back. He was able to help it all out and get us to the finish line. He's just one of the most unique college basketball players we've ever had at the University of Arizona and in college basketball, period. And, I mean, to be honest, we're lucky to have an individual like that. Love Tucson and love the U of A, love Tommy Lloyd. Caleb Love says Tommy Lloyd's going to win championships. That's a foregone conclusion. And this is a guy that's played in the Final Four. He loves where this program's at. He talked about Koa Peak coming aboard, and he's just he's just getting started. We're all upset. We're all disappointed because we really wanted to have a great night tonight, go out drinking and party it up because we just beat Duke, dirty, dirty Duke. But
I'm still going to be drinking, Saul, by the way, for different reasons.
Well, I'm going to be drinking because of this chat right now. But I'm
chat needs to drink.
I'm satisfied with the effort and the enthusiasm that these guys tried to rally behind out there on the court. The ultimate goal is a championship, at least to get to the Final Four. And it didn't happen. But it hasn't happened for 24 years. And if you can't celebrate the small things, then I don't know what we're doing here, because you got to celebrate the small things. If every single year you're expecting to be Employee of the Year and you don't get it and you're just devastated and you just go into a hole for a month,
Giannis?
Hey, how about just to celebrate your Employee of the Month? How about that? You know what I mean? The small things. Come on, people. I'm trying to take you from the known to the unknown. There you go.
You know how we know Saul is wise? He just quoted Giannis without even intentionally quoting Giannis. That is exactly what Giannis said, pretty much almost verbatim, when he got eliminated from the playoffs a couple of years ago. We were talking about that pregame, actually, when he was like, if you, at your job, if you don't win Employee of the Month, are you a failure? Or like, is that how that works to you? Do you not take any solace in that, or are you projecting what you wish for yourself onto me? But Saul, I was kind of alluding to everything you were talking about with Caleb Love earlier in the show, because you know how I feel about Caleb Love. You know my history with Caleb Love as a viewer, right? I don't know him personally, but as a viewer, I have a very long history watching Caleb Love, and I spoke to some of the things that you spoke to, right? The person that he is first, the ability to take all the weight on his shoulders this offseason, or this conference season and non-conference season where he was struggling, and still trying to be the best version of himself as a basketball player that you can possibly be. You spoke to Caleb Love, Saul. What did the shoulders of the Arizona basketball program right now have to say after this loss?
Basically, I just asked him, I gave him the response of his teammates, and I asked him, what do you think when you have teammates that are talking about how special of a person you are, and they get emotional talking about you playing your last game?
My teammates mean everything to me. They've helped me so much grow as a person, as a player. They push me to be the best version of myself each and every day, and they never let me slip. Anytime I was down or out, or felt like I was struggling a little bit, they always comforted me, and I was doing the same, because that's what teammates are for. That's what teammates are about. It's not just about basketball. Yeah, basketball is what we do, but it's not who we are. And the relationships that I've built over course of my 2 years here at Arizona will last a lifetime. And I'm grateful to have this group of guys, and the coaching staff, and equipment manager, the training staff, everybody. I give all my thanks to them.
So this year's team was it was the moniker the Gritty Boys, right? And I think each player embodied that at different times this season. But when you look at the career of a guy like Caleb Love, the player he has been, there is no grittier a boy than Caleb Love, right? Like the stuff he's been through, the stuff he's overcome. Credit to him, Saul. Also, I want to shout out to you. That was an incredible question, a great way to frame it up as well. I think it really gets to the personal aspect of these players. That's a great question by you. What was your takeaway from his answer, and how did that, what does that say about him, right? When you hear things, I get uncomfortable when people start complimenting me. You know what I mean? So for him to hear all that in that locker room, in that emotional moment, what was that like?
I mean, that's Caleb Love. That's exactly who Caleb Love is. He loves his teammates. He loves the program. He loves Tucson, loves the food in Tucson. Talked about that.
As he should.
Because, it's tough, because you're in there and you want to ask about the future, and you want to ask about what's next, and, what went wrong and all this other stuff. But you also know, a lot of that stuff is sorry. A lot of that stuff is irrelevant.
So close.
I'm sorry, man. I tried to.
We're in overtime.
I didn't mean to.
I
didn't. Okay. Oh yeah, we're in overtime, so it doesn't matter. You know what? No, I'm just kidding. So I just think that Caleb Love is just that guy. He's cerebral in terms of he knows what his impact is. He also knows how people feel about him. It's kind of funny, when I talked to KJ, I'm sorry we don't have that KJ clip, but I do have it. I mean, I'll post it on our Twitter. KJ talked about, between Trey, KJ, and Caleb, those are the three most targeted people on social media, hands down. Like, people either love them or hate them, depending on the day. And KJ said that Caleb helped him get through some of the tough times, especially in the last, like heading into that Kansas game, and especially right after the Kansas game, where KJ was really struggling. And, Caleb was the one that was just like, pick your head up. It's going to be all right. Just ignore that stuff. Ignore the noise. Those people don't matter, because at the end of the day, the only people that matter are in this locker room, the people that can actually affect the outcomes of games. And this team has matured in so many different ways. And in college basketball, especially today with, sports betting, you're only one click away from said athlete. It is a hard endeavor to try and ignore some of that noise. And for these young guys to be able to handle that and persevere and get this team to a Sweet 16. And I always find it remarkable. They never say anything negative about fans. They know they have haters. It's okay. They acknowledge the entire fan base as a whole, because as a whole, the fan base loves this team no matter through thick and thin, right? And I think we are representative of that whole. The fans were representative of that whole. Former players were representative of that whole. And I think that speaks volumes about this program. A lot of respect also. I think I don't know if I posted it, but I will post it on Twitter. The handshake line behind us. Caleb Love and John Scheyer, embraced, and they hugged for a minute. And it looked like, Caleb was getting emotional, and Scheyer looked like he was getting emotional too. And I was just like, wow, there's a story there that I don't know, especially Duke, North Carolina, Duke, Arizona. Like there's something there. And that was pretty special in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely respect.
One of these situations. Well, real quick, Kevin, I'm sorry. I just want to say that, like, for the people, the Duke fans that are here in this chat right now that are trashing Caleb Love, look at your coach and what your coach, the amount of respect that he has for Caleb Love, right? You guys, we got our revenge on Caleb Love tonight. Guys, he put up 35 points on your head in this game, was the only reason Arizona was in this game. I don't think that this was the big W over Caleb Love that, you think that it was, but and also to the point of now, Caleb's 1-4 in his last 5 against Duke. Cool. He's 5-5 in his total 10. You don't get to just pick the window that matters to you and that counts to you or not. He's 5 for 5.
And he's got the bigger win.
Yeah, he does.
He beat you in the Final Four. Win. So listen. Again, you made a great point, Damon. John Scheyer did it with class. Spoke highly about him in the postgame. Like, it's okay to say we got Caleb. I'm glad we got the best of him in the last, 4 of the last 5. But also understand that, like, he was a pain in our ass, and he caused a lot of problems for us. And he damn near tried to do it again tonight. But it is what it is. One last note. I got to say this because I love it when things just kind of connect, right? And I've done this at every single tournament. I've always worn a shirt underneath, just in case something happens. And tonight, something happened. I actually packed a shirt in my bag. I wore it underneath my hoodie, and I'm gonna hold on. Let me show.
You have a cold Pete situation going down. What the hell's going on?
Oh no! This is gonna be cool. I think you're gonna like this.
I know it's gonna be cool. It was cool when Koa did it too.
So, about maybe 3-4 months ago, right before we were about to play ASU, I just wanted to make sure that I had a shirt that was fully representative of it. Well, the guy that I made the shirt as inspiration for was here in the building tonight.
Wow.
In Kevin Parham. And he got to see my No Easy Bucket shirt. And
that is sick.
And when I saw him, it was at the end, the game was over. I was walking out, I saw him, and I was like, Kevin. He came down. I was just like, dude, I got to show this to you because I'm wearing it. And when he saw it, his eyes just lit up, and he was like, oh my God, I need that shirt. And I don't have another shirt underneath it. Otherwise, I just gave him the shirt that I had. I made it on Amazon. It's not the most electric shirt in the world in terms of its touch, but he loved it. So I'm going to send it to him, and we exchanged phone numbers. He gave me his address, and Kevin Parham. That was pretty cool.
That is a game-worn Saul Bookman No Easy Buckets tee going to the doorstep of Kevin Parham, and you had better damn sign that thing, Saul.
That's funny. He should sign it, but I think I'm going to have to make him his own.
Yes. I wanted to wrap up. I wanted to put a bow on our Caleb Love conversation really fast, though, Saul, and get your thoughts on one more Caleb Love note. We were talking about how, because you brought up a great point about John Scheyer and that embrace at the end of the game, and maybe what could have been said and the feelings that were going on as Caleb Love is exiting the college court for his last time against a program that he has a huge history against. Damon and I were discussing at the top of this podcast about, well, yes, going out on top means winning, right? But outside of winning, Saul, could there have been a better bookend for Caleb Love's career in college to play a complete game, no turnovers, shoot excellently, dominate the second half of the game, willingly try to drag your team back into the game? You do fall just short. I know he's going to feel differently about this, but from a fan's perspective, experiencing the whole Caleb Love story, I wanted to ask you that question as well. How was this game as a bookend for Caleb Love's career?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's a fantastic bookend because he came out guns blazing last year in his first season at Arizona. He had big buckets in those non-conference games. Like, he was huge. And then kind of in the middle, last tournament, he didn't have a great tournament. And then we start the season this year, doesn't have a great start. But then he finishes the season so strong. So it's like he got a complete season in 2 different years combined. Would we have loved to have gotten like the full Caleb Love, experience for a whole year? Sure. Yeah. But I leave feeling very satisfied about what Caleb Love did in an Arizona uniform. I won't consider him like a top 10 all-time Arizona Wildcat in terms of like performance. He had performances that were very top 10-esque, but he will forever be in my top 10 favorite players because of the things that he specifically has had to go through, not only here at U of A, but also at North Carolina. And the hate that man received, like, I'm telling you folks, if you got the hate that Caleb Love got, I don't know how many of us would stay on social media or be active in that regard at all. It's just, it takes the special will of a human being to try and go through some of that stuff and fight through it and give glory to God and be thankful about the opportunity that you had to play college basketball at 2 premier universities in the country. And you did it with class and you represented Arizona so well. Like, there's nothing to be upset at Caleb Love for. He's a special human being. I hope nothing but the best for him and his future endeavors. He's probably going to get drafted. It'll probably be late in the second round if he does get drafted, or he goes undrafted. But I mean, I would take a gamble on Caleb Love if I was an NBA GM, especially in the second round or undrafted. And then, you know what? He'll have a phenomenal career overseas no matter what. That's a guarantee. He's going to be a highly paid asset overseas for sure. And we've seen plenty of Wildcats live that overseas life. We had one on yesterday in Derek Williams, and Parker Jackson Cartwright's killing it. We've seen Kyle Fogg absolutely kill it. Dusan Ristic is killing it. Like, they make a great living off of playing overseas, and there's nothing wrong with that, because if you love ball, if you love ball and you love money, why not do both at the same time, right?
I believe in Caleb Love. I'm gonna put my stamp on it right now. I feel like I'm fairly good. We were talking actually with PHNX Suns the other day. I feel like I'm fairly good at picking a second round guy who had a great college career and like is being underrated by the league. League circles going in. Caleb Love's my guy this year. One that comes to mind that was a bust that I had was Clay Anthony Ely from Wichita State. I thought that guy was going to be
early. Clay Anthony early.
But some of the hits, like Chandler Parsons, Isaiah Thomas, Draymond Green, all guys that I was like, I want on my team specifically. Caleb Love, I'm saying, like, that dude is a good basketball player that you want on your team. Maybe, the thing is he's athletic. He's great at defense, as he proved this year. And, he's gotten, like, he's somewhat of a streaky shooter, but we know he can score at every level. I think that's just a player that, is going to thrive in a place like the NBA. But, that we're going to be in his corner the entire way, rooting for him, especially this guy over here. Probably buy tickets to his first NBA game.
I mean, Shane, can I have the day off? Shane, can I have the day off? Shane's saying, yes, I will get the week off, actually. That's crazy. Shane is a great boss. We love Shane.
Don't even take PTO.
I'm not. He said no. He actually just texted me and said, you get it free. You're going to get paid the whole time.
I will say this. This is my last thing, and I promise you it'll be my last thing, and then I'm going to sign off officially.
Go ahead, Cook.
But I want to give you guys credit because, listen, I feel like much like Arizona, it was kind of a tough start to the year for obvious reasons, and I'm gonna say some things that maybe might not be popular, or they might be popular, because I just don't care. I will say this: I am happy for Mike Luke to be able to do what he's doing with the AZ12 podcast. I think, I know it's something that he had thought about, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him and Jason Scheyer to be able to do the things that they're doing still. And I hope they succeed, and I hope they thrive. Absolutely. And I think what you guys have done in taking, and there was a drop off. There was a drop off in terms of, obviously our viewership and the amount of people that wanted to support us. And that's okay. we invest in people, and a lot of people invested in Mike and Jason, and they didn't want to give you guys a shot sometimes. They didn't like me, and and obviously Espo's gotten a lot of flack for it too. But at the end of the day, what you guys have done to rebound and really try to gather everything back up and move forward and press forward with your eyes on on the road ahead, and how we can build a community and build a podcast or a show that embraces everybody, no matter if they hate us or love us, right? And I think that's just a tremendous thing, and you two deserve so much credit for really battling through a lot of things that were not of your own doing, and thriving. And I'm just so proud of what you guys have done, because it just, you two are special, and I hope people realize that.
So genuinely, from the bottom of both of our hearts, I speak for Damon as well. We are a team, simpatico on this. We appreciate all the kind words.
It means the world, man. It really does.
It really does.
And you're 100% right. Like, we're thrilled for what Mike and Scheyer have going on at AZ12, and we're excited for what we got going on over here, and what the road ahead for us. And yeah, it wasn't always the easiest, especially being in the position that we were put in right away. But Kevin and I, this is the dream. We love doing it. Getting to talk to Derek Williams this week, getting to cover this season, and getting to talk to a guy like Reggie Geary for me, when Kevin was out that one day, and all that stuff, like all of that, it adds up, and it's genuinely a dream come true. And it's not possible without all of the people here in the chat that make it a thing along the way, and want to listen to a couple gas bags like me, and a very analytically smart man like Kevin.
And real quick, I will say this, because I don't get too sappy with the chat. I do say I appreciate each and every one of you all every show, but I from the bottom of my heart, I mean that. Damon knows I'm a people person. If I interact with you, I care about you. Until you don't deserve it, I care about you. And every single person in this chat, you give us your time, you give us your energy, you give us your opinions, you give us your thoughts, and those are valuable things. So we appreciate each and every one of you for just staying with us through the course of this. And a basketball and football guy finna have me emotional. He was like, I remember when we just had like 10 to 20 people in these exact same shows, Damon. And now here we are. We're steadily growing. We're just trying to do the best we can to give comprehensive coverage of the Arizona Wildcats. And I know that sounds like a sales pitch, but it's really not. Me and Damon, we work our ass off, man, to try to cover this team as comprehensively as possible and as entertainingly as possible, right? So yeah, we appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here in the chat. We appreciate you, Saul, for everything you contribute to us and us, us doing this. And yeah, Mikhail Madness is great. We wouldn't have gotten Derek Williams without Corey Williams. The will connection there. So yeah, thank you, Saul, for the kind words. They did not fall on deaf ears. And we can tell the emotions are running strong over there in Newark, so be careful.
What's so funny is you brought up Reggie Geary. I have this bad habit, I don't know why, of always FaceTiming my wife when random people are in the background. And when I was in Kansas City, Reggie Geary was behind me, and I was FaceTiming her. And and then Reggie jumps on and goes, "Hey, how you doing, Mrs. Bookman?" And she was just like, "Hi." And then he left, and she was just like, "Who was that?" And I was like, "That was Reggie Geary." And she was like, "Oh my God, I love Reggie Geary. He was like my favorite player." And I just like lost it. And I was just like, "Okay, calm down. You're still married to me, and let's not forget.
You ain't even recognized the man 5 seconds ago."
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, we've all aged a little bit. I don't look like I did when I was 20. Come on now. I'll give her a little slack on that. But at the end of the day, listen, man, I think, a lot of the people here that work in the U of A space, I think it's just tremendous that we have so many people that are willing to create content to cover this school and this team. And we all bear down. I think that's the one common thing that we all have. And we all want our team to win. And so now we move on to football. After obviously what's going to be, it's always an interesting offseason with basketball. I'm excited. I have a ton of footage that I got to send you guys' way to upload to YouTube tonight and on Twitter and all that good stuff. So that's what I'm going to go crank out. It is 2:15 in the morning here in Jersey. So I'm going to go do the rest of my job, and then I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and do my day job. And then I'm going to go enjoy New York for the next couple of days, because why not? So
you deserve it, Saul
appreciate
Bookman.
you guys.
Deserve it,
Love you
especially after all
guys.
those Midwest,
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, you were in
Yeah,
Kansas, you were in Newark, you weren't even the
city.
glorious places.
Enjoy the city.
Dude, Newark needs to get reworked because this place is for
Old
the
work.
birds. I don't know why they thought to have the NCAA tournament here. What were they thinking? Like,
you thought it was sweet
bro,
when it was your home KC and all that. You thought it was sweet, huh? Newark on the
New
way,
York,
so don't forget.
New York is right across the river or the bay or whatever it is that they got funk running through. Like, go that way. What are we doing here? Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's it. Love
Get
y'all.
your rest.
Peace.
Love you, Saul. We appreciate you for everything that you, all that coverage. He worked his ass off, man, for this beat, and just Arizona's basketball coverage over the last couple weeks or so. Providing great stuff that really was pretty exclusive to what we had going on here at PHNX Sports and at AZ Wildcats. But shout out everybody in the chat here, man. It's been a long ride, Kevin, throughout this season, and it's finally coming to a close here. We appreciate everybody that joined. I did learn something new.
What'd you learn?
According to Duke fans, you spell Duke with 2 O's. That's the proper way of spelling it. That's what they prefer. And so moving forward, it is DOOK. Moving forward, something that we can, at least we learned something tonight, Kevin.
Sure, we did.
The more you know.
I would say I learned other things, but I'm glad you learned that, Damon. I don't know if I can really put that in an article. I don't know if it's grammatically correct. Shout out, the Dookies doing their thing. We do have another super chat here from Dr. Chimp. I'm really gonna miss Caleb. He gave it his all. I would say no one's gonna miss him more than me, but that's probably not even true. He is so beloved in this fan base for those that really love the game.
But I actually I know we say in jest #1 Trey Townsend podcast in America because of the things that we some of the jokes maybe that we made about Caleb Love. But that being said, Kevin, I really do think that, or about Trey Townsend, I should say, I really do think we were the #1 Caleb Love podcast in America all year long. We held the line, never folded, even when he had his worst games, and people were all over the internet jumping on his back, trashing him. Me and you held strong, stood still, and held the line, Kevin. And we knew that this is the performance we were going to get out of Caleb Love when it mattered the most. And it's just unfortunate that other people didn't have that same level of upswing in their performance tonight. But
can I
you
say
can't
it real
blame
quick?
Caleb Love.
Can I say it one time? Because it's the last basketball postgame show. We're talking about Caleb Love. And I really haven't gone this direction yet this season because you have a lot of basketball left. Shane, can I get a solo shot? To all you idiots at home, Jeff Goodman included, that have thought Arizona, one-man show, one-man band, can't get it done without big Caleb Love dropping 40-some-odd points and I don't know how many assists and I don't know how many boards. Take that for data. 35 points, Arizona still loses. One-man show?
Not the big prove it you thought
I know,
it was.
I get that. No, my point is though, is that it takes more than one guy. And when you say that a team is a one-man band, they can't get it done without their best player showing out, you show you're not really watching that team. I get that not the point that you think that I'm trying to make, but that's not the point that you think I'm trying to make is not the point that I'm trying to make, Damon Dog. I'm trying to say, when you say that Caleb Love-led Arizona team is a one-man band, they can only win when he scores 35 plus. No, you've not been watching the games. It's a team effort. Arizona carried Caleb Love through some games, right? We've seen it tonight. It's hard to carry a team through. Cooper Flagg didn't even carry his team through. He did his part. He was the leader there. My point being, though, to the idiots at home that think you can win a basketball game 1-on-5, you cannot.
What we learned was that their takes were dumb and we still lost.
Yeah, but
I really thought he was going to be like, you were right.
No, because look, we didn't lose. You and I, we are podcasters. We are pundits.
I lost.
That's fair, fine, whatever. My point being though, we don't deal with the stuff that they deal with. We deal with the takes that come from it, and all these takes from people that have huge fields of podcasts, maybe 68 fields of podcasts, right? Think that they know better than you and I know, even though you and I are maybe younger than them and went to the same school and, I don't know. Maybe we know less. Maybe we don't know ball, Damon. But I think it's silly to look at a team and reduce it back to one player because you remove a lot of the beauty that is the team, that was the Gritty Boys, by trying to make it just the Caleb Love experience, which it was. But there was a lot of co-stars in that as well. So
I wonder how the guy who I saw in downtown Phoenix with a Duke shirt on 2 days ago, who I said bear down to and got in his face, feels right about now.
You what?
Yeah, I went to go get lunch the other day. There was a guy wearing a Duke shirt, and I was like, bear down, bro.
Shane, you hearing it?
Yeah, I'm sure he's laughing.
You got in his face?
Yeah, what was that about?
All up in his business.
That's kind of nasty.
Unprovoked?
Put my hand underneath his shirt, started doing the heartbeat thing.
Damon,
he didn't know how.
And then they had an R&B video dance off.
He didn't know how to react.
I would say I expected better from you, but I don't.
That's why we're the yin and yang, Shane.
Yeah.
Because he's nasty and you're dumb.
And on that note, we are the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Nasty and dumb. It's the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Yo, dumb and dirty.
Shout out everybody in this chat right now. We appreciate all you guys. Means a lot. Means a lot that you guys would be here. And no basketball and football guy. I wasn't drunk. But
drunk on Arizona Wildcats Kool-Aid.
Listen. I bear down. I think that's really just all it comes down to, Kevin. I can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop.
We can't stop, won't stop providing elite Arizona Wildcats coverage. I know Saul said it's football season now, and that's true. We are going to be diving headfirst into spring football. We got our intern Cohen out at every spring practice providing coverage for us and kind of boots on the ground in that situation. But Kevin, I would be remiss if I said that, this is also baseball and softball season, and the Arizona Wildcats have two incredible teams when it comes to baseball and softball right now. We got our eyes on the prize in terms of those as well. So we will be covering all of Arizona's athletics and all of their programs all throughout the offseason here as we await football season. But I'm Damon Fairall. He's Kevin Thomas. Kevin, anything before we get out of here and kind of wrap up our coverage of this fine basketball season?
Yeah, one last thing. Just in case it wasn't clear based on what Damon just said, I don't know if Anish is you were saying that as he commented this, I'm sure. But no, we are not done for the rest of the year. Just the Arizona Wildcats basketball team is done for the rest of the year. Damon and I, 5 days a week in these chairs. Well, sometimes I'm in that one, but 12 p.m., 5 days a week, Damon and I, all the time, talking Wildcats. And tomorrow? Today is Thursday. So, yeah, we're going tomorrow. Friday at noon. Tomorrow at noon. Catch us. Damon in that seat.
Be there, Anish.
Me over there, be there, Anish, as Shane says.
I'm probably going to be even sadder tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll really hit
Damon,
me tomorrow.
I hope you're walking to get lunch tomorrow and you see that guy.
Me too, honestly. I'm going to need that. I'm going to need that like footage. I need that CCTV cam. Like me in Korea. They got those stuff everywhere. They do. You ever watch like Korean true crime? All right, let's get out of here. Damon.
All right,
Wrap it up.
Just quick hitters real quick before we get out of here. Egregious non-technical foul. Didn't mention it the entire podcast.
Oh,
what
true.
A joke.
Oh,
How do you not
Well, we
call
said
that?
it. We said it without saying it.
Yeah.
King of the court, Caleb Love. We said it all show. He was clearly our king of the court. Sorry we didn't do
Shane,
that.
I was ranting. If you would have provided me the kindness of allowing me to talk.
Yeah, he gave me the solo shot for my stupid take.
Absolutely egregious.
Okay.
Non-technical or non-flagrant on the grab down of Jaden Bradley versus the grab down of whoever the hell did it on Duke. Disgusting, no call. Egregious, could have changed the game. Cooper Flagg, you're corny as hell. Stop with that let's effing go.
That might be your worst take.
That might be your worst
cornball.
take, bro.
Dude, you guys are just like, you are the two poster children at this company of
For loving good hoops.
He's awesome, so I just really like him because he's good at sports. Listen, dude, I don't like
I don't
like freaking cornballs
I'm gonna
like
stop
this
that
guy.
right now. I'm gonna stop that right now. That is so far from who I am.
That is exactly who you are. You like Caleb Love for that exact reason.
No, I like Caleb Love because he's a hooper.
That's what I'm saying.
Not
and you
because
like
he's
Cooper
a good,
Flagg because he's a hooper.
I
don't like Cooper Flagg
Those
because
are two
he's
different
a
types of
dork.
hoopers. Those are two different types of hoopers. No, but what I'm arguing is he could be not the best player in the country right now, and that he's not a dork. Like
he is the best player in the country, and he is a dork.
He's not a dork.
You got me, dude.
He's not a dork.
Dork, cornball,
I'm ending the show. Anything else?
I was trying to think of one more thing that I could add to this rant, but there was a guy offended of Coach K talk earlier. I don't even think we said anything about Coach K, but Coach K sucks. I hate him. Well, that was the AZ Wildcats podcast. I am Damon Fairall. You can follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. Follow Kevin at Kevo Post. That's KEVOPOSTS. Shout out Shane Diefenbach for helping us out tonight. Immense help, and really helped out this show and just kind of our coverage here, getting up live and just, having a good solid 2 hours for you folks at home. But shout out Shane. You can follow him at Shane Dief. That's DIEFF. So yeah, shout out everybody for being here. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. We are at 89 likes. Let's get to 150.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow at noon, 12 p.m. for a Friday edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast, breaking down tonight's loss and where we go from here. Koa Pete commits today, starts off the day right, Kevin. But unfortunately, the Arizona Wildcats get eliminated in the NCAA tournament and lose in the Sweet 16 to the hated Blue Devils. We will catch you next time. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, peace, bear down.
Go Cats, go Gritty Boys for life.
We all silly like the mayor.